Welcome to the Scoop with Dukes. I'm your host, Philip Dukes, aka Dukes the Scoop. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Dukes the Scoop. And please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. If you have not become a member already, go join the channel, become a member. It is greatly appreciated. And this is an AU Scoop. Coming off of a gut wrenching loss to the University of Georgia Bulldogs. Shout out to UGA. The Auburn Tigers need to know which way is up. It's hard right now. But before we go any further, before we talk about anything, let's give a round of applause to the University of Georgia Bulldogs. Let's clap for them, man. We got to clap for the Bulldogs. Great job. Round of applause for the Bulldogs, man. Great job. All right. So this is going to be a tale of two shows. One, we're going to talk about the officiating, and two, we're going to talk about what Auburn can fix. Because just to be completely honest, even with all of the bad officiating, the calls that didn't go Auburn's way, you still had every opportunity to win this game. You cannot put the entirety of this game on the officiating. So, yes, as Auburn fans and Auburn alum and supporters of the Tigers, you 1000% have a right to feel like Auburn has the worst luck when it comes to officiating this year. But you also have to look in the mirror and say, you cannot put up 40 yards in the second half and 15 yards before the final drive. That just cannot happen. You can't have 4 drives go for 15 yards in the second half, and that's the entirety of your offense outside of your last gas drive. That just can't happen. Um, so yeah, let's go into the officiating. A multitude of bad calls. First and foremost, the Jackson Arnold call. I mean, we can you can debate it and you can say, oh, this and oh that, but this is a tale of of two sides of a call as well. Because first of all, the tip of the ball did cross the plane. It hit the paint. It did. He had control when it touched the paint. All right. First and foremost. Secondly, hold on to the ball and we're not in this situation. Right. So let's just like, yes, we could talk about, was it the right call or not? But why were we in that situation? 17-0. Why is the ball not more secure? Why not like you have an opportunity to go up 17-0. The crowd would not have allowed a loss. I just don't think they come back from 17-0. I just don't see a world where that happens. You got to at least get a 3. It changes the whole game. You got to hold on to that shouldn't like, and it's crazy because I had the intrusive thoughts entered my mind where I said, this is going too good. As Auburn fans, do you ever get that time where you're just like, this is going too good? Man, I felt it. I felt it. I said, man, it felt like 2017, the 40-17 win. I mean, I was this close to tweeting it. 2017 all over again. It just looked like Georgia didn't have anything for Auburn at that moment. Even when Coach Freeze goes out, elects to receive the ball, I said, man, you must know something, right? You got it going on right now. You must know something. To see how Auburn comes out and dominates that first half, 237 yards. Man, offense. Long, sustained drives. You keep the defense fresh. Yeah. And you can see how time of possession can affect the defense. You look at what Auburn's defense did in the first half and what Georgia's defense did. And it just flipped. Because no matter what, you get gas playing defense. Safeties have to run every time. Corners have to run every time. You get gas. To lose that ball in that situation, as much fault as I give the referees for making a bad call, bad call, bad call, why do you give the referees an opportunity to make that call? A winning football team doesn't leave that to chance. Winning football, that's on the 1 yard line. That's not winning football. And Georgia can say Georgia can always say that should have been a touchdown. But I'll say this: you just cannot fumble the ball right there. That's just the long and the short of it. So, and we put the and I hate it for Jackson Arnold because I've been a proponent of his, and when people were saying John Mateer was just like light years ahead of him, I'm like, man, Jackson Arnold's talented. He has a skill set, and everybody from Oklahoma says, Dukes, you're going to find out because it's in those critical situations where he will not hold on to the ball. And they referenced the Tennessee game last year. Similar game. If Oklahoma scores, they probably beat Tennessee, and you get that crazy fumble, and it goes the other way, and the wheels fall off, and Jackson Arnold eventually gets benched that game, and they go to a true freshman. Okay, could it be some foreshadowing there? I don't know. So that's the first bad call. Another call that I would say the targeting call on Kenyon Lee had much more impact on the game. One, Kenyon Lee comes up as being physical. I mean, it's one of those. It's a bang bang play. I feel like targeting is meant where someone is intentionally trying to target your head neck area, where someone is trying to lead with the crown of the helmet. That's what I see as targeting. First of all, they went to go review the catch. That's what they said on the mic. And then they come back with an answer for targeting. It's just some crazy stuff. It happened. Ken Lee was probably playing one of the best games he had played in Auburn, orange and blue. Ken Lee was balling. I know he had like a slant or something he gave up, but man, his energy was infectious. Ken Lee was having a star turn that night. I really felt like that was his game. Hometown Georgia kid, once committed to Georgia, the game meant a ton to him. And I hate that it was taken away from him. Now, the targeting call was arguable, but I'd say I just don't feel like his intention was to intentionally. He was just really. I mean, he's 5'11". You get what I'm saying? Like, he's trying to make contact. So what do you want him to do in that situation? Like, what does he do in that situation? In that bang bang play, what does he do? So I just want to give a shout out to Ken Lee. Very, very tough break. But that's another where you can't. They didn't even like if they would have announced that they were reviewing for targeting, maybe it feels a little different. I already had a few other calls, and then this one was horrible. I'm clapping. I'm clapping. I'm clapping. That one was horrible. That one was bad. And I know I saw Rusty. Shout out to Rusty. Rusty, you owe me a phone call too. Shout out to Rusty Mansell. And he tweeted and he said that the Auburn safety was coming down clapping. This is what I saw. I feel like Coach Smart. Shout out to Kirby, man. It's my dog, man. Coach Smart. I feel like Coach Smart really did call the timeout and was saying, "Hey, they clapping out there." And then realized they was confused and was like, "Oh, I'm going with it." That's what happened. True. All BS aside, I feel like Coach Smart called the timeout and went to go tell them they was clapping. The ref may have heard him wrong and he went with it. Now he didn't say, "No, that's not what I said." He's like, "Oh yeah." Once he figured it out, oh, he went with it. He did. Oh man, he did. And it's hard to blame him. The refs, man, good gracious. But yeah, But once he went with it, it wasn't, from the Auburn perspective, it's not funny. But to see, I mean, yeah, I mean, that was tough. And that was like when you talk about uh, a potential delay of game penalty to take you in the fourth down, and they say, "Oh, well, you got a makeup call." You can't make up what comes after that. You know, you go from a drive extended to a punt, the field position that goes along with it. Like, no, you can't just go say it was a makeup call and erase what happens in the game. There were a host of other bad calls. Drop them in the comments. But with all of the bad calls, you cannot win a rivalry game missing your spots, missing your shots. The Eric Singleton overthrow, you can't miss that one. That changes the trajectory of the whole game. The bobble on the fourth and 1, you can't miss that one. Like, you had opportunities. You could not extend the drive in the second half. The drive chart is like turnover on downs, punt, punt, turnover on downs, punt. I mean, turnover on downs, punt, 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 turnover on downs. Game over. No, no extension of drives. Defense stays on the field the whole game. And shout out to the defense once again. Before the game, if you go to mybookie.ag, shout out to mybookie.ag. Use my code if you haven't. DScoop, the letter DSCOOP. You go to mybookie.ag and you say, all right, what are the odds that Auburn wins this game? You see the spread going back towards Auburn, and then you get a good tip. And the tip says, hey, I'm hearing, if somebody were to come and tell you that Georgia would be held to under 300 yards total offense and wouldn't rush for 100 yards, Auburn would outgain them on the ground, and you'd hold them offensively to under 300 yards. I put everything I had on it that Auburn wins that game in Jordan here. But no, 40 yards offensively in the second half. Before that last drive, 4 drives, 15 yards outside of penalties. Guys, yes, the officials had a horrible night, especially in terms of Auburn. But this Auburn offense is as inconsistent as a 1963 Chevy that's been sitting up that you want to drive right now. It may crank, it may not. That's Auburn's offense right now. It may not. And right now, it's not a whole lot less than it may. Eric Singleton has had big games against Georgia. Cam Coleman, you got the weapons. Malcolm Simmons, you got weapons. You got everything you need offensively. 1 sack last night. 1 sack. Offensive line figures it out. 1 sack. Something has to happen with the offense. You're 0-3 in the SEC. The defense in SEC play, Auburn's defense has given up 24, 16, and 20. Auburn has scored 17, 10, and 10. I do not like offensive versus defensive division. But it's up top with the offense. You got the talent. There's no doubt in my mind can this offense, like, you got the talent. I don't know if it's a quarterback change. I don't know if it's coordinator change. I don't know what it is. But you got the talent, and it's not showing on Saturdays. 17, 10, and 10. That's, man, with an offensive-minded coach, that's not it. You can't do it. I'm not even the type of guy to jump on the pile. I'm not at all. but they got to figure it out. And it's got to happen fast because Missouri is coming to town. Yeah. And if you score 17 against Missouri, you probably won't win. You score 10 against Missouri, you definitely won't win. At this point, it's almost like, do they got to pitch a shutout? I feel bad for the defense, man, because when they play complementary football, you see just how elite the defense can be. If the defense gets help, that first half when the defense had a dominant offense, this defense could be elite. You would talk about them even more often than you do now as one of the top units in the country. This would be considered one of the top Auburn units playing complementary football. If you had an offense that was consistent, that literally put up y'all, if you had an offense that averaged 24, let's just say this. If you had an offense in the SEC that could average 25 points a game, just every game, 25, 3 touchdowns a game, and you would think with $2 million receivers, you could probably do that. You just need 25. You win. You're 3-0 in the SEC. You're undefeated right now with only 25 points. You don't have to be a juggernaut, as we've seen in some years where Auburn was really killing it. 25 points. 24 points. 2 wins and a tie. That's all you need, 24. So, yeah, the referees did their best to take it away from Auburn. But one thing about it, you don't have to take something that's being given. And right now, it feels like Auburn is giving games away. All right, that's my time, folks, man. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Whatever y'all want to talk about this week, leave it in the comments, man. I appreciate it for sure.